In this problem here, we're going to simplify these radicals. And notice, just as a point here, that this is from the review section of the book. So when you have two radicals, one of the rules about radicals is if we have the square root of a times the square root of b, we can call that square root of ab and put the two radicals together as one radical. And we can go either way with that. In this case, it's in our interest to put these things together. So that means I can call this 24x squared times 6x. Okay, so at this point, what we want to do is we'll go ahead and multiply the 24 times the 6. And so 24 times 6 is 144. And then x squared times x is x to the 3 power. And so now we can take the square root of these things. And it turns out that 144 is a perfect square. In other words, if you open your calculator and press square root of 144, you may not know this perfect square. It's one of the bigger ones, but square root of 144 is 12. Just like by using the same rule that we used here, we can use the rule that says, let's take square root of 144 and then the square root of x to the third, if it helps you to kind of compartmentalize what's going on here. So this allows me to take square root of 144 and get 12, square root of x to the third. So the rule about exponents is that if we have x squared and we take the square root of x squared, hopefully you understand that that cancels that because those two are equal and opposite. Another way to say that is for every time that you have two things and multiplied, two of the same things multiplied inside a radical, that's equal to one of those things outside of the radical. All right, remember what a radical is saying, back to numbers here. If it's something like 25, what thing do I multiply by itself to get 25? And that would be 5, right? Because said another way, 25 is 5 times 5. So the square root of 5 times 5 is just 5. And so hopefully that demonstrates the fact that two things on the inside represent one thing on the outside. And so in this case, I have square root of x to the third. Maybe one way to write that is the square root of x times x times x. That's 3 x's. And so we have 2 x's right here. So those two can come outside and we have 12x. And then there's that 1x is left behind. And so our final answer here is actually 12x square root of x.